Hi everyone, it's Fitz with the Power Talk. We had press conferences today. We had an interesting collection. We had Matt Wells, the new quarterback coach, co-offense coordinator, associate head coach, went first at the podium or at the table, and then Brian LePack and Matthew Middleton and Brian Anderson came in from the offensive side of the ball to kind of close the circle. We've now spoken to every coach throughout the fall camp, which actually ended yesterday on Sunday. They're now in classes. Players had Monday off. They'll go into more prep. They'll kind of finish this week with probably advanced prep for some upcoming opponents. And then they'll get into Tennessee Martin next week, because next week is game week. And an interesting theme has emerged this spring, and it was carried on through the offensive coaches, and that's depth. And that's something, as we've said, reminded you that Chris Klieman addressed when he first got to K-State. They just have to build up the depth. They didn't have the depth. They couldn't survive Big 12 seasons. And it's taken them 5 years, but they feel like they're finally caught up on depth in so many ways. They're really deep at receiver. They think they've got 6 guys ready to play, if not more. And that'll be very interesting. They like 4 running backs. And of course, we'll see a lot of DJ Giddens and Dylan Edwards, but the other guys, they're coming on. They're playing really well. We've already discussed the depth on the offensive line and where they're at with Coach Riley, and then quarterback. Feel like they have a legitimate battle for the number 2 spot. It's going to go right up to game week, probably right into maybe the game before they know Jacob Knuth or Daquan Roberson will be Avery Johnson's backup. I'm kind of treading on ground I've been across before, but the history of Kansas State football is having really good teams, but just not enough depth at certain spots, and it sometimes gets exposed and costs dearly. I don't see that with this team unless there's massive injuries, maybe on the offensive line, maybe the interior of the defense. I think this team is really well stocked in almost every position. And of course, you want your frontline guys to stay healthy, but that just never happens. You get injuries. It's a violent sport. And so will K-State be able to withstand that? Yeah, they should be. Talking to Brian LePack, he likes 5 tight ends. He knows he's going to play 3, adding in Braden Lofton into the rotation, but he's got a couple younger guys that he just loves. So tight end's really deep now all of a sudden as they divvy up the duties and the numbers that Ben Sinnott used to produce. So this depth is going to be a crucial thing going through this schedule. Also, they have a couple of off weeks, which is a little bit different to have 2. And of course, they have a 3rd off Saturday because of the Arizona game. So this team should have opportunities to rest. But if it can't stay healthy, it feels like it's got the pieces to overcome that. I'm optimistic about the offense. Again, Matt Wells isn't one to come just hype up a player. He talked about Avery Johnson in glowing ways. And I think it was D. Scott Fritchen asked, does he have it? And he said, oh yeah, he's got it. Whatever that is, he's got it. And that's kind of what we all think. It's time to get to a game. It's time to stop talking about it. I think we're all excited to see this version of Kansas State football because it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be led by a young quarterback. It's going to have some young playmakers. It's going to have a new offensive line, maybe some tweaks on defense. There's so many elements that go into this team that might just be enough different to be concerning and also exciting. We're under 2 weeks away now, and next Monday will be game week. And that's when we'll talk to Chris Klieman as he's moved his press conference to Monday this football season. And we'll be back with another Power Talk at that time. The daily deliveries will resume tomorrow. Because I knew I was doing this, and Daphne knew I was doing this. So why do both? I didn't. I'm lazy.